My name is Shekar Krishnan. I'm an attorney, and I sit on the Citizens Union's Municipal Affairs Committee, which involves analyzing major policy issues confronting our city today and debating them and then weighing in on the broader public debate. To me, I think Citizens Union acts as an effective bridge between everyday New Yorkers and city and state government. It ensures that New Yorkers have a voice at the table when decisions are being made on major policy issues, and that elected officials remain accountable to everyday New Yorkers when making those major decisions. Well, we identify the major issues facing our city, whether it's campaign finance reform, electoral reform, or disclosure issues in our city, and we make sure that New Yorkers, their diverse viewpoints, are heard on those issues before government officials make a decision on them. Well, I think there are a couple of major things that stand out to me. One is to make sure, last year we worked, and also over this past year, we worked on making sure that every New Yorker knew where their polling site was when they went to vote, that they could see a sample ballot online, and that any basic information they needed that pertained to their fundamental right to vote, they could easily access from the Board of Elections. And I think that was a critical measure that we fought for. I got involved in Citizens Union because several years ago I worked for a legal services nonprofit organization in North Brooklyn where I helped to organize low-income tenants and then advocate for them in court. And the goal of that work was really community-based advocacy to empower low-income communities. Through it, I met Luis Garden-Acosta, who is the chair of the Municipal Affairs Committee, and he said to me, this kind of work you're doing, community-based empowerment, you can also do on a larger citywide scale through Citizens Union, and that's how I got involved, and I'm happy to do it. Citizens Union provides the platform on which everyone can advocate on their various different policy issues. It defines the terms of the debate. It says, here is what good government means on this issue. Here is how to make government more efficient or responsive on this issue. And so in that sense, it provides the framework through which you can effectively advocate on any public policy matter. I think everyone should be involved in Citizens Union if you can answer one of the following questions. Are there issues affecting our city and state that you care about? Do you want your voice to be heard on that issue? And do you want decision makers to listen to and act on your voice? If you can answer any or all of those questions, then I think Citizens Union is for you. And I think the role you can play is either to join one of our committees or work with the organization to promote awareness about its mission, about the political process to everyday New Yorkers who might not have access to that information. There are many issues facing our city and state today. The influence of special interests is growing as well. And if you want to make sure that your voice, and not just yours, but others, is heard on these issues, and that these voices aren't drowned out by the larger special interests, then I think you should work with Citizens Union. And you can do that by joining one of our municipal affairs or state affairs committee. You can participate in one of the regular civic conversations that Citizens Union has on these issues. Or you could work with them to put on workshops or promote awareness in your community as to what Citizens Union does and why it's important. What really appeals to me about Citizens Union sitting on the Municipal Affairs Committee is the way our process in analyzing major urban policy issues is so deliberative, thoughtful, and then decisive. We identify some of the most important issues facing New Yorkers today, and all of us from our different personal, professional backgrounds analyze every nuance and complexity of the issue. And then we try to build consensus on a position we want to take on that issue. And once we make that decision, we stick to it and go out and advocate forcefully for it. Well, I think that the way Citizens Union makes a decision on an issue in a very democratic and thoughtful way is something that I think is very effective, not just for a good government organization, but I think for broader policy making, to take in a diverse set of viewpoints on an issue that many people may not be aware of and have that inform the debate, and then come to a decision that reflects those nuances, I think is a great way, is a model that could really be used on a broader scale. And that's something, that part of the process was something that was new to me, and I found something I've learned a lot from. Well, I think what we're seeing in our politics today is a great increase of corporate and special interest influence, and that's playing out on the national stage in our presidential election, and in every day in our state elections as well. And I think a challenge that we've got going forward is to make sure that our voice is heard despite the clamor of those interests when it comes to policymaking. The democratic process that we use to come to a decision on a major urban policy issue is something that I think can be replicated on a broader policymaking scale. It's effective, it builds consensus, and it takes into account a large number of diverse viewpoints. And I think that could really serve as a model for policymaking generally. Every election season, we put together a voter guide where we interview candidates across the political spectrum on all electoral races. And we identify their opinions on good government and transparency issues. We then endorse a candidate depending on their answers, and we put together a written statement of reasons on each candidate's position and why we gave them or didn't give them our endorsement. And that serves as a guide to voters when they go to the polls on each electoral race. Gotham Gazette is a way to identify and analyze major state and city policy issues and keep pace with them as they're unfolding on the ground. So it really provides an in-depth analysis of the issue and how the public dialogue on that issue is changing every day. The democratic decision-making of our processes on the Municipal Affairs Committee really stands out to me because I think it serves as an effective model for broader policy making. We take into account everyone's diverse viewpoints, and we try to build consensus on any given issue. And I think that it's something that really the policymaking world could look to as a good model for decision making.